crafty family, and welcome back to my channel. This is Anna. I am so very excited to announce that I have been invited to be the guest designer in a Facebook group called Loaded Envelopes Galore and More. The owner of the group is Robin Pitts, and she is also here on YouTube at Sir Chauncey Rocco Creative Designs. So this is what we will be making for this next swap. This is a birdhouse that I have created. And I'm sorry about my setup. I just put a whiteboard on the back so that you didn't get distracted by all my mess. This birdhouse is really easy to construct. It's not hard at all. It's a basic box with 2 peaks and a roof. I'm going to get a little closer. I just wanted you to see that overall view. I'm going to go ahead and turn it for you. There is the side of the house. There is the back of the house. And here is the other side. And then of course the front. So on the bottom, I used a candlestick, one of the glass candlesticks from Dollar Tree, and I simply painted it white and pink, and then I put a layer of Mod Podge over the candlestick so the paint won't start to chip off. And then I just put a bow here at the bottom. It's a 3 different ribbons. It's a sheer one, a white one, and a blue one, and then I put a flower right in the center, and I did stickle that flower. For the front, I made this fence, and I did double the fence so that it would be nice and sturdy. And it is dimensional, so I put some foam on the back so that it wasn't right up against the house. And I put some grass on the front. I inked the edges, and then I put this flower cascading down the side here, and I did stickle up all the flowers. These I got from ASC Craft Supplies, along with the little hip bud rose, and then the other ones were just flowers I had in my stash. And then the peak of the house, I went ahead and put a die cut. It's a corner pocket die cut, and I just put it on the peak of the house. I put this cute little butterfly right here in the front. And then on the side, I made this cute little window, and I inked the edges on the window, and it does have acetate, as you can see a reflection there. And let me show you the full window. And then on the top, I put this gorgeous trim that I had in my stash with some flowers right in the center and some bling pieces. And I put a little cluster of flowers right here, and there is a little bunch of stamen that I had in my stash. And on the top, I put a row of pearls. And then on the back, I just put some more flowers. These are Prima flowers, and I stickled those. And I had some leaf die cuts. I cut them out. I put a little bit of glitter on the tips, and I put these little gems right here throughout the little cluster of flowers. And there is another one of the die cuts. And then on this side, I put the bling on the top above the butterfly. I put the pearls going across, and I put an applique under this butterfly. This butterfly comes from Rene Bouquet. And here is the other window for my house. And then the thing about this house is that it does open up, and let me see if I can show you without moving the camera too much. It opens up, and it has a really big area so that you can fill it up with goodies and send it off. Guys, I am so excited and honored to be the guest designer this month. I really love the way the little birdhouse turned out. And like I said, it really is not a hard project to make. So that being said, let's go on. Let me clear all this out, and I will show you how I made the birdhouse so you can follow along. So for this birdhouse, you can either make it Easter themed or you could just make it spring themed. So this is the paper that I'm using. It is the Echo Park Welcome Easter. So that is my pattern paper that I'm using. And then I am using some Recollections cardstock. So you also need some chipboard, and I've already cut all the pieces and I'll let you know what you need. So you need some chipboard. Of course, obviously the thicker the chipboard, the better. This one is 32 points, but I would not go any thinner than this one. And then you will need score tape. I'm using the 3/8 inch score tape. You will need one chipboard piece that is 5 by 5. This is the bottom of your box. You will need 2 5 1/4 by 5 pieces. These are your sides. You need 2 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. You need 2 of these. This is for your roof. And then you need 2 pieces of 5 by 8 chipboard. These are the sides with the little peaks on there. And I'm going to tell you right now how to get those peaks nice and even. You take your chipboard and you have to mark from the top, mark it at 2 3/4. You're going to put a little mark at 2 3/4 right here. And then you're going to come to the other side and you're going to put another little mark at 2 3/4. And then you're going to put a mark right in the center, which is 2 1/2 because it's 5 inches wide. And then you take your ruler and you put a pencil, you put a line from one mark to the other, from the tip up to the 2 3/4. And then you do the same for the other side, from the tip to the 2 3/4, and you cut those out. And that becomes the roof of your house, or the sides with the peak. And they should look like this. Okay, so those are all the pieces you're going to need. And we're going to assemble this house. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put one peak, one side of the house, and then we're going to put another peak, and then we're going to put another side right there. And the way we're going to join these is with some strips. These, I just cut a few of these. This is 1 inch. I scored it in the middle and added tape to the back. And I've already burnished all of these. So I'm going to remove the backing and I'm going to put it right on the edge of my house here, of my peak, leaving just a tiny bit of space so that when I go to fold these to make my square, it's not going to be too tight. So let me burnish that. And then I remove the other side of the tape. And I'm going to add this to the other side of the peak. And I'm going to leave about, 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to burnish that. And there is the first side of my house. So I'm going to continue to glue the other 2 sides, which are the peak and then another straight side. Okay, I have joined my house together this way. I did put the last piece in there. This one is going to go right here to actually make the house structure. But we're not going to do that just yet. We're going to go ahead and take some more of the strips and we are going to connect these together so that it doesn't come apart. And it's easy if you just fold it and go ahead and place it right in the center. Line it up with your bottom strip and go ahead and press down and then press it the entire way down. So we're going to do that to each of the inside pieces to connect them on the inside. All right, guys, I have connected the inside as well. What I did here was I went ahead and put my inside piece down. This is going to be glued down to the other side this way. And then the existing one that is in there already, I'm just going to remove the tape backing and push it down, and that way the inside is also reinforced. So I'm going to do that with you right here, so you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and connect my house. I want to make sure that it's not too tight of a fit, but tight enough, and I want it to be even. And this isn't quite even. Here we go. So there. All right, there we go, guys. That is the outside connection. Now what I'm going to do for the inside is I'm just going to remove the score tape from this piece that I put down, and I am going to flatten my box, and I am going to just push that down, and there is the structure itself. Okay, now we're going to do the same for the bottom. I'm going to take my 5x5 piece of chipboard. I'm going to take these, and I am going to go ahead and put 4 of them on the outside, so I can then add that as the bottom of my box. Go ahead and put the inside tape on the bottom half right here. Just go right up to your edge, and then push down, and then you will do that all the way around. So just put your house down, make sure that your little flaps are inside of your house, and then you are going to remove the tape from one edge. Make sure, let me remove my tape. I'm going to make sure that the edge is right, that my box is right on that edge of that score mark. Okay, so it's hard to tell, but I know you know what I'm talking about. So then I'm going to bring this flap, this tab, I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to adhere that to the side of my box. So there is the first tab. The bottom is adhered on the outside. I'm going to do the opposite side next. So there is the bottom adhered on the outside. So now I'm going to remove the tape from the inside. And now it is adhered from the inside on that side. So I'm going to do the same to the other 3 sides. Here is the inside of my box. It's nice and adhered. And there you go. Those are all the outer edges. What we're going to do is go ahead and take our roof pieces, which are the 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. We're going to do the same for the roof piece that we did for the box. I am going to add my piece of my connector to the one side and then add it to the other. So as you can see, this one has a little more space than what we left on the actual house, because that has to open and close, and we want to have that open and close freely. This one is going to go this way. We're going to adhere one side down, and the other side is going to open and close. Okay, we are going to add our hinges to the inside and the outside the way we did the bottom. Okay, that way it's easier for you to remove that tape once it's already once one side is already glued down. Okay, when you open this up, it'll be easy to remove the tape and then glue this down. I hope that makes sense. All right, there we go, guys. We have all our pieces glued down. So there we go. So before we put our house down, we need to go ahead and cover 3 edges. We're probably going to have to trim this down, because this right here will only overhang 1/4 of an inch. This is 1/2 inch. But we need to go ahead and cover our raw edges. So I'm going to do that, and we just take a piece of the edge, the connector piece, and we will cover them this way. I have covered all my raw edges around my house, which is these 3 sides. This side is where the roof is going to go attached, and I went ahead and covered the entire roof, the raw edges on the entire roof. Now what I've done to try to get my roof centered, I put a little mark on the inside of my roof, 1/4 of an inch from the edge, which is what's going to be your overhang. It's only gonna overhang about 1/4 of an inch. So I just put a little mark on the 1/4 of an inch and then came over here and put another mark on the 1/4 of an inch. Now, before we attach this is going to be too long for our 1/4 of an inch overhang. So I'm just gonna cut the outer one in half. I am going to go ahead and lift this and push down a little bit, fold it so that I can easily remove it. So I'm going to remove the tape backing, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue because that is just a little bit of tape backing. Flip my house over to where I can see my 1/4 of an inch from this peak. I'm going to glue it down 1/4 of an inch down. Now I'm just going to push down gently. I'm not going to push down all the way because I want to make sure that my other side is also going to fit within that mark. And yes, it does. So now I'll go ahead and push this down. Now I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to remove the tape from this side. I'm going to flip it back over, look for my little mark, and place my house roof peak right on that little mark, right before the score line. Okay, so our roof is attached on the overhang. Okay, now that closes. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and remove the lining from the back of the roof, the side of the roof, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down, making sure that it doesn't extend out to where it'll actually show. And there we go, that's attached. Okay, our roof is attached on the outside. Okay, so now we're going to come in and we're going to remove the tape linings from the inside pieces. All right guys, there is our birdhouse. It is covered completely. So all we need to do now is put our mats down, and I'm going to tell you what I cut those out at. This one is for the bottom, and I did cut 2 different ones. So the solid layer is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, which is the solid paper. And then your pattern paper is 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. Now, the thing that I did forget to tell you was that we also need a Dollar Tree candle holder. This one I'm going to paint before I put it on my house. So this is going to be the base of our little birdhouse, so that I know exactly where to put my candle center. I put a little mark. I marked my center of my 5x5 just by placing my ruler from one side, making a little mark, and then placing it from the other side, corner to corner, and put a little mark. So when I go to glue my candle holder down, I know where the center. For your side piece, on your solid piece, it's 4 3/4 by 5, and your pattern piece is 4 3/4 by 4.5. My front side is going to be the same as the rest of the house. So let me tell you how to cut the matting pieces for this one. So you start off with, of course, your solid colored cardstock if you're going to make 2 layers. Or if you just gonna put 1 layer on there, you just need to do this once. So you cut a piece of 7 3/4 by 4 3/4, and on the short side you're gonna measure 2 5/8. Okay, and you're gonna put a little mark there, 2 5/8, a little mark on each side. And then for the center, you're gonna mark 2 3/8. And then you're going to draw your line, just like we did for the house roof, except the measurements are a little bit different. And you're going to draw your line, and then you're gonna cut those out. That would be for your bottom layer. For your top layer, if you're gonna make 2 layers, 7.5 by 4 1/4. The center is 2 1/4, and then you're gonna mark it 2 5/8. You're gonna connect your lines and then cut them out, and that becomes your 2 pieces, 2 matting pieces. So you do it just like you did the chipboard, except the measurements are a little different. And that is my front piece. Now for the roof, your solid layer will be 5.5 by 4, and your patterned layer will be 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. And again, we're gonna just glue them down right here. Now for the inside, you do need to layer the inside. You need to go ahead and cover the inside, and you would use the same measurements as you did for your outer layers. Now, if you're going to put 2 layers on the inside, that's totally up to you, but you still have to put at least 1 layer and present a beautiful finished birdhouse. So I have my candlestick here, and I just painted it white and pink. So the next thing I need to do is glue this to the bottom of my house, and I've got my little mark there so I can get it pretty centralized. I am going to use E6000 for this because this is glass and I don't want it to detach from some hot glue. So make sure you use something that is durable, that's going to stay on your project. So there's my little mark, and I'm going to go ahead and place my candlestick in the center, and I am going to wait for it to actually adhere a little bit before I move it. And I wanted to show you what the inside looks like, and this one is all matted on the inside, and you can use the same measurements you use for the outside, you can use for the inside. The only one that's different is this one that faces the top of the back of the birdhouse. The inside mat, which is this one back here, is cut at 3.5 by 5. That's the only one that is different. Other than that, everything is the same size. And there you have it, folks. My birdhouse is ready to decorate, ready to go. I am so excited to embellish this. So let me know if you have any questions. I will be more than happy to answer them. There we go. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you so very much.